At William and Mary, bold moments define us. We push boundaries and find creative solutions. We take risks and pursue our passions. We ignite curiosity and change the world. At William & Mary, we see bold in action. We challenge what is known, explore what is new, and imagine a bold future. We are, and always will be, a university for the bold.
Hello everybody, hope you're having an amazing day, night, whenever you are deciding to watch this broadcast. Another week, another time to be seeing somebody possibly getting hit with the 3-stock. Nonetheless, we are here back at it with another exciting match and quite possibly maybe an upset. We're always looking at a hypothetical. I'm username_Intel here, joined by Mr. Kilomiles. How are you doing when we're here with William and Mary plus Seton?
I'm doing fantastic, and, well, after seeing William and Mary have a nail-biter loss last week, I have to say, this is an opportunity for them to get back on their feet. They are one of the old giants, the old gods of the EGF scene, and they want to take this opportunity to show why.
Don't want to underestimate their power. It seems we aren't going to be getting that Steve versus Bowser match first up. Steve is always my favorite character to see, but the Bowser seems to just not want to give them a chance to play.
Yeah, not at all quite yet as they get the up tilt chain started. Woo! Now, with that initial damage, it's expected, but as you can see, BFD does not have the better end of that, and they get caught by their own TNT explosion right there. That's never a good sign to see, especially when the perfectly timed 2-frame comes out.
It's incredibly unfortunate. Now the stock no longer in the advantage, especially with that side B doing some nice, beautiful damage. Poor BFD on the defensive, yet still able to throw them off the stage, get a couple items. However, not really looking to build.
Yeah, not quite yet. I feel like at this stage of the game, you need to get a little more aggressive. Obviously, you want the resources to be able to challenge them should they drop down upon you, bust down through your roof. Haven't they ever told you never dig straight down? Because when you do that, you fall right into magma.
You're not completely wrong, especially in this update, but it does seem BFD almost just falls due to damage. And right now being off the edge, Bowser is just so resilient in this game.
Yeah, it certainly is. Heaviest character in the game and showing why that matters. But hey, weight will not save you from the command grab, which sets you up perfectly into the anvil dropping down from above.
Absolutely beautiful anvil, but that doesn't save from the fact that now Noah is back to this percentage where they're perfectly safe, able to just smash BFD out of this now with the whole stock advantage. Though, look at that. What type of combo will you really dignify that with?
Diamond tools make every situation dangerous, even for Bowser. At ledge, the wrong DI will kill you, and now the right DI might get you dead as well. Not spacing that forward air correctly is going to invite another down smash. Trying to get off ledge, though, that's just going to break that dirt block and send you shooting off into the sky.
That was an incredibly good performance as BFD now tying this up. Noah's losing that pace that we saw from earlier, and look at that. Has to air dodge just to get away, but BFD is there for the guards.
Okay. Ooh. Stuffing out these over-aggressive options is a nice thing to see right now from Noah. However, BFD is not to be deterred, and these options, the side B, that's not going to be enough yet, but it's going to put you off stage. Steve's not going to have trouble getting back, but only 2 iron left in the reserves. But you don't need iron to stuff out again. These anti-air up smashes have been crucial.
Look at
that! But it's not enough to save you there, just barely surviving thanks to DI.
able to just barely get it with the recovery, but look, Noah still has control over the map. We don't see the two frame able to come out, and the minecart almost manages to find it. Our BFD really is just looking to get that swipe with a diamond sword, making a statement and managing to take that, but incredibly close.
Was that a no impact land dirt block right there? That was beautiful. Yeah, take a look at this final kill. They jump to bait out a non-grounded option, and just when you think it's safe, the F smash comes out. That's so fast! But either way, oh my god, yeah, let's take a closer look at this. Going in, they see, neutral get up, alright. Come on, pick an option. You see I'm way up here, and they get that. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to see. And Bowser's so tall, that's gonna connect every day of the week.
Yeah, is that just a single thing that can happen to Bowser and big characters, or like can anybody get hit with that?
I mean, Steve has got enough setups where you don't need that specific one. I'm sure with a single dirt block, you could achieve the same effect.
My goodness, that just, it makes me even more scared of Steve. I already knew with the anvil made him a threat when trying to get back onto the stage. They just have so many options, and having one for each and every character quite possibly only gives me a bit more anxiety. But, I mean, Noah had an amazing performance starting out, basically took that lead, but continuing out very slowed down, wasn't able to kind of play up against that minecart.
Yeah, not all that much indeed, as yeah, you can see that is the sweeping blow to finish it off. At the moment, it feels like Noah has the possibility to win this out, but the confirms are a little more practiced in the hands of BFD. It feels like they know exactly where they're going to find those kills.
Yeah, and I mean, very early on, at least on my mind, was, oh, they're not getting a chance to place blocks. Maybe this is one of Steve's bigger weaknesses, but I think I'm looking away too into the literal game rather than in Smash, because, I mean, the Steve really didn't lose that pace. What does the Bowser do? Is it really just that idea of, well, Steve can't place blocks, you're not going to be able to play this game to get your resources?
I am of the mentality that trying to starve out Steve is the best bet. You can't let them mine, because as soon as they lose the ability to use iron, their movement becomes drastically worse. They can't really mix up their landing at all. There's some cool B-reverse stuff you can do, but that's pretty much it. So you've got to be constantly pressuring with Flame Breath, with forward airs, to make sure that these disjointed hitboxes make Steve scared to even put the pickaxe in the ground.
It's why I love Steve, though. Just watching Steve mine in the middle of a battle is always a good laugh for me, but oh, look at that, quick to 50%. Poor Noah even gets parried, but they're not really going to care too much. Just some couple neutrals to clean it up.
And now after those tiny bit of neutral, it is back to what you do best, searching for that big meaty hit. Missing the tech right there, that's actually going to let you avoid the grab follow-up right there. And that's what I wanted to see, that Flame Breath poking at the Steve, but the Magma Block, ooh, that might not be. Again, that is a call-out that says, I know you love to jump, and I've got just the surprise for you.
It's a massive threat as well. You really don't want to kind of try against it, and with that TNT on the high ground, look to just jump over it, play space, but the minecart, similar to before, almost is going to knock you out, but Noah's basically fine getting back onto the stage, able to force BFD off of it, now switching sides in different setup plans.
And with those different setups, I mean, again, BFD, they're perfectly fine with this situation right now. If you're able to get the stock, perfect. If not, if the max raid Bowser finishes you off with this up B, with this edge guard, then you still have diamonds on deck. You still have a little nest egg in your back pocket, as it were. Avoiding that side B, ooh, running straight up that staircase that Steve built, but Noah isn't able to really get the follow-up. One aerial right there, but no iron. Like you saw, they tried to mix up their landing, and they couldn't because they didn't have iron.
Just as you said, I mean, the Steve wasn't necessarily resource down, but the fact they didn't have the iron, not having that valuable necessity, basically meant that their stock was all but gone. However, you still pretty much called it with BFD able to come back and manage to trade it out. Now with the Diamond Axe looking to try to even up that damage.
Yeah, and that would be beautiful to see right now. You need that so desperately. You need to find an early kill right here, and charged up smash, a call out. You've been seeing them jump off a ledge time and time again, and now you finally get your comeuppance.
Just looking for it. The poor zombie Steve having to just run around, wanting Noah to just walk in. Does place the anvil, but now is completely out of iron, and yet is able to force Noah away from the close quarters, away from stopping them. But just Noah being alive seems to be more than enough pressure.
More than enough, but is it enough to stop you? Ooh, I like that shield pressure with that neutral B. Noah holding onto this lead, but you get spiked right there and calling out that down air. Every Bowser does it at a disadvantage sooner or later, and when you call it out with an up smash, there's not enough priority in the world to save you.
Muscle memory is the biggest weakness of any person, because sometimes you just instantly hit it. Though we do see the blocks it, but Bowser's not going to be able to run in onto it. Interesting Mario Kart usage. Is that a top tier play that I've just never seen, or was that just a genuine mistake?
I think they tried to go through the middle of those blocks, and that little movement mistake will cost them some percent, but they were able to escape disadvantage before long, and now they're just looking for one of their traps. Get Bowser off stage, give them time to set up, because look at this, they have no iron once again, no minecarts, no anvils, they had to mine right there.
I mean, it's not too bad, able to get that last minecart in, Noah off the stage. Now, having at least for 2 to 3 more. They're very just throwing it off into the edge. The Bowser, though, being caught a little bit off guard, not going to be able to stay floating on this stage. And they're being flung up by the rocket, just like a rocket.
Oh, they tried to get the meaty hitbox off of the splash damage, but it wasn't enough. And with a mighty swing of the diamond sword, Steve will send you straight off into the blast zone, into Minecraft, and that will be William and Mary taking an early lead over Seton Hall.
Don't like Steve's, winning card where he closes the door on you after leaving his house. I just feel, what is that supposed to mean? We're online, we get it, Steve. You're leaving the house to touch grass. Regardless, I gotta say, Noah did the best that they could and brought this as close as possible, and a lot closer than I think I would have expected. I've seen a lot, especially BFD, be incredibly skilled when it comes down to the Steve using the iron resource management, but I mean, BFD was caught out a lot more often than I've actually seen them.
Yeah, and overall, I liked what Noah brought to the table in the form of disciplined play, but there were times where it felt like it was a little too disciplined. Not that I want them to, completely disrespect Steve constantly, but I mean, first of all, overcommitting to options like that is nice. However, there were also times where they had Steve on no iron, and that Steve ran away clearly to mine, and then they stuck to their defensive practice game plan, playing around full hops and such to try and avoid that, and it just didn't work out for them, as you saw.
I agree. There's nothing worse you can do in Smash than giving a Steve some time, because, well, similar to other video games, they're going to be building a fort around you and then a minecart directly to your face. I think that's the best way to describe how that match went. But coming up onto our next, it does seem that we're getting Drengadar and Blob_Man35, so it'll be kind of an interesting matchup there.
Blobman. When we first saw them, they were running the Bowser. However, they have really diversified since then. They've had all sorts of tips and tricks added under their belt. I mean, I think last time we saw them on the Sora, but we also saw a lot of people on the Sora. It's been a second. I also think I've seen them on the Falcon. Something about Blobman is confusing my brain. I'm not sure.
It may be the other, 34 Blobmen that is kind of getting our mind a little ruffled, but I do remember that sense of the Bowser, but Blobman, at least from their performance last time, I don't think was disappointing. I definitely feel there were some areas we looked at, but I mean, going up against their opponent, could we feel there's a little bit of even if we don't fully remember?
It's too early to call. I feel like the main thing you've got to be worried about is I think the reason I say Seton Hall, Bloodman definitely a Bowser, is because Seton Hall is very Bowser heavy, very heavy in general. They're tipping the scale all the way in their favor with those Bowsers. But as good as a character as Bowser is, it gives you a very strong win condition in that you just warm up a lot before your game. You get your punish game on lock, and once you hit a character, when you're in neutral, you're struggling to get the hit, you're playing against a player, you're playing mind games, you're playing mix-ups. When you hit a character with your combo starter, you are hitting a character with your combo. A character with set options, set DI, and set combo breakers. Bowser doesn't have a lot of combo breakers. They have options to escape juggles, but if you have a strong punish game, there's not a lot Bowser can do to escape it. If you hit them, you're doing 80%.
Yeah, and honestly, I just think Bowser isn't one of the, stronger, heavy characters. In my, correct opinion, it's going to be that Donkey Kong that I feel is always going to be the strong suit, big arms, big slams, and once again, obviously, I'm spitting truth right here. I'm still giving props at least to that Bowser. I don't think it's every day that we see, kind of in that matchup, someone, especially when you're knowing your opponents, I think sticking to that matchup, sticking to your guns, especially a character like Bowser, always makes me smile at least.
Yeah. Now, I feel like that was also an opportunity for Seton Hall to take a breath of fresh air that first match, because it didn't really seem like you were in the mindset to win. How many times did Noah have the lead and it slipped away because BFD was just a little more practiced, a little more prepared for this tournament setting? You've got to have that experience. William and Mary, they are a Titan for a reason. When it comes down to it, they win. They win when they need to. They win when both players are in a scramble.
I mean, it's that supreme territory that I always like to assume that some of these teams have, where no matter who they're going up against, no matter how much your team has improved, they have a little bit leftover energy that they just pump into themselves, and they're being able to bring it back, show us something different, or even change up their style, which often gives them the win. It's that supreme territory that I love to refer to. Now, though, especially on the hypotheticals and everything that we're talking to, PS2 is our first map. That's always going to be one of my favorite maps, and it's always, I think, one of the more fair ones. But let's say we see that Bowser come in. Would you want to see a lot more grabs, a lot more just, being rude, maybe going for the most randomest hits?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Honestly, I don't mind it that much. I'm trying... Honestly, it's racking my brain. It is a little frustrating to think about that. But, yeah, we are getting a button check out. It was a minute ago, so it should be finishing up right as we speak. So we will have these characters soon enough, user. And then we can stop speculating and get into the gameplay because, hey, I mean, this is an opportunity right here. Drengotter is one of the more recent additions to the William and Mary roster. I don't know if they're recent, but they're not a starter, I can tell you that much. Or not usually anyways. So, I'm curious to see how that plays into it. I wonder if they have that practice mentality we see in a lot of the other players.
Honestly, I could fully guess it. Though a considerable amount of players really just like to go online, which is the most unpredictable place to practice. So I wouldn't be too surprised if they just walk out on something random. That's definitely always my idea when you're on the back foot or when you don't know what you're going into. If you can't figure out what you're doing, how is the opponent going to understand? You can jump in the air all you want, but if you never hit them, I mean, they're going to be sitting there confused, and especially when you're Lucina versus that Game & Watch, a completely interesting matchup, especially when we've seen so many Game & Watches have very similar styles, but the Lucina is always one that puts on a good flair.
Yeah, as I feel like this isn't terrible for Lucina. I mean, I would say at best it's even. Game & Watch does have a lot of options to really stuff out Lucina in the neutral and punish any whiffs. So I see that Drengotter is immediately going for the shield grab. They want to get this juggle situation without putting themselves at too much risk.
And I can totally respect it. They're able to just run up, get some easy damage when it comes to the Game & Watch. But this character with all their moves, with all the questions that go around, is still somewhat taking the lead. The key able to just find its way down into Lucina's heart and then launch them all the way out into the sky, but they're freely able to get back onto the stage.
And what I'm noticing right away is Drengotter, I was about to say isn't overcommitting, but challenges the up smash with the key, and it pays off. Now goes for the 2-frame with that dash attack. It's not going to connect. Gives Blobman a chance off of there.
They're still looking to move forward. Both of these players are at very high kill percentage, which is the biggest anxiety inducer I've ever seen in this game. And while trying to go for that guard on the edge, well, Lucina just goes far above you, knocks you off. You have to shield just a little bit longer. However, it does seem the hammers are going to get the job done. Lucina kind of got a little bit more stuck when it came to the air blasts, or puffs.
And now the juggle comes out again, but not able to link more than 2 nairs in. Good DI from Blobman to get out of that one, and Drengotter not able to follow, but now you've got another chance at those strings. But again, good DI away. Not giving Drengotter too much mileage.
Yeah, I mean, still though, they're not really getting too much themselves. We see the slam go down, pushes them a little bit back, and Dren is almost living until we see that beautiful slam knock you directly on top. You're captured, and now you're stuck. And you're sent out yourself. That's not looking too good.
That was so low, user. It was so low. And Drengotter knows it. Blobman knows it, but you can't let that get to your head, as now the Nair trains start up again.
They're just looking for it. However, the Game & Watch is seeming to have the edge in these fights, though it took them a second to realize where they were, and that hammer is going to miss out. The Game & Watch is going to play that patient game more than anything. It looks like they're just trying to force the Lucina off the edge.
That they are. As they try and land. They've been using this sword to contest with the chef a couple of times, and it's worked sometimes with the forward airs, but there, it just wasn't enough time for the down air to connect. As now you go down with the key, and you actually trade with Lucina's edge guard, or recovery.
You're right, and unfortunately this is not looking too good. Almost gets hit. What a nice parry. Forces their opponents into the air, but that swipe is going to do its job. However, Lucina's not getting any consistency, and unfortunately is going to be landing out of this match. You said that this was quite possibly an even fight for the Lucina, but quite possibly, what made it seem so?
Well, the thing about it is, as we're going to see here, Drengotter was just harder in the punishes. I mean, that was 174%, but we saw another kill at 70%, and we saw these hard reads. And sure, sometimes they worked out for Blobman, but you needed a lot more than that. Was it really down smash that took all 3 stocks? There's no way, right? I think it was.
My memory is as good as a goldfish. So I would say yes, all of them.
Yeah, here is the 3rd down smash right here. And, can we rewind on that to see what the percent was before the hit? 75. No rage. And you're gone.
I mean, smile for the camera. Good to be able to see it. Look at that.
Yeah, that... It hits hard. It hits like a truck. It burns your soul out from your body. And that, to me, again, says that you're not really spacing your aerials as well as you could. Though, again, that is just a call out right there. Drengotter knows when to... Okay, this is going to sound so simplistic, but Drengotter knows when to push the correct buttons. They know when to up the edge shield. They know when they can get a grab, and that grab leads into the Nair trains. Like, they're always getting the optimal option. And even though they don't have the optimal execution, if you're always picking the right option in every situation, you're winning the Game & Watch minigame.
Definitely a fair play. And, you know, honestly, at least when I look at it, yeah, initially I think the Lucina is going to have the advantage simply because the Lucina is really good reach, has some good options when it comes down to guarding, may not always be the best in the aerials compared to the Game & Watch, but does that really just mean that the Game & Watch, with their own talent, is able to break through it? Especially with Dren's own, you know, correctness on the button pressing?
What I will say about Drengodd, they are an optimal player in every sense of the word. They get optimal follow-ups right there, and even though they don't get the optimal Nair combo, it still hurts. It still hurts so much as you're able to get that. That's gonna kill. And one more bit of optimal. Look at their color choice, or rather, don't look at it. Can you see them right now?
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is what colorblind people must truly suffer with, and I'm sorry, folks, for every joke I've ever said. As honestly, I didn't even think about it and how difficult or how confusing it might be to pay attention or keep track. Luckily, there is that name for us on the top, so it's not going to be the hardest thing to see. But Blobman, I mean, you're as bright as a sun. You're red, and well, you're almost knocked off the stage. You don't get that recovery. It does put an end to the hammer kills, though. That's the bright side of this.
Yeah, and you can see it's making the juggling so much harder right now. You're able to just get the jab out of the hit. You don't want to deal with that in the slightest, but it doesn't matter. You're still going to set up into a nair, into an up air. More damage stacking on.
The poor soul, once again being thrown off. Though you're able to get that air dodge on to the stage, you immediately get knocked back off before you get a prime opportunity to even try and hit. Though Dren, not being a bit prepared, well, even still gets back onto the stage, looking perfectly fine until you get hit mid through that, and now you're out. But this is 101. It doesn't Game & Watch have some of the strong moves that are easy kill, even if they are low damage?
Oh yeah, you know it. They get an up smash out of shield, which I haven't seen any up smash. Game & Watch is nowadays really favoring the down smash and that forward tilt as the main kill confirms. Or the key. Straight out the corner right there. You weren't ready for it. Coming in at a diagonal angle. There's not a lot you can do to prevent that. Dren got her with a clean 2-0 right here, cementing William and Mary's dominance thus far.
Listen, all right? The jokes write themselves. The key was the answer, all right? I had to say it just because I can. But moreover, I think Dren God solely kind of figured out how to go up against Blobman. Wow, the second round felt more like a testing ground than anything, especially with that kind of not having a chance of using your area to get back onto the stage. It felt like they were just trying to figure out how they're supposed to play against that Game & Watch, and honestly, they fell a bit behind afterwards.
Yeah, and you can see, just not always reading the correct option. I mean, here it is. Blobman can cover one option when they go up toward the juggle. Sometimes they can cover two, but usually it's just one. They tried to read an aggressive aerial. It didn't come out. Instead, they jump in. And just because you misread that, Game & Watch then has the tools to immediately drop down fast as you like with that down air to get a strong punish.
I gotta say, it makes me like watching the Game & Watch more and more. Definitely still feel that Lucina, as you said, could have taken it home. Was fairly an even match. But now when it comes down to the next one, one of the players that brings me most anxiety is going to be Outer Rim going up against Alzer. And these are pretty, Outer Rim is a pretty strong player.
Yep. This is William and Mary looking to clean up in dominant fashion. Outer Rim has gotten some incredible punishes in the past, and they're putting it up against Alzer. Remember what I was saying about the Bowser? Now, the one thing that Alzer has going for them is if they play extraordinary grounded, playing a lot more around tilts than aerials, as a lot of Bowsers do, then, well, maybe you have a little bit of a better chance, because Tough Guy can, I believe, go through a lot of those arc fires. It's not a guarantee, but it is just one tool you take out of Robin's toolkit.
But, I mean, Bowser's got some good armor. Bowser can kind of power through the hits. What's that Roy got that makes the Bowser so much better, Mr. Kilo Miles?
Well, Bowser in general has a lot of assets in terms of poking tools, ledge trapping tools. Robin doesn't have the clearest recovery in the game, or the easiest recovery to clear. At times, you can get stuffed out, and if you get held off stage for long enough, you will eventually lose your recovery, which can be pretty detrimental if you have been watching the earlier games. Now, Bowser does have tools to interrupt the recovery without much effort. You're able to usually get 1 or 2 interrupts with the flame breaths, and if you're able to hit one more forward tilt after that, and they're already low on book usage, they might just be out of there.
been. I guess we'll just have to see how this matchup is going to go through. There is a button check nonetheless, so we at least get this moment for them to be able to breathe, figuring out what they want. But do you feel there's a possible percentage that Owzer may not run the Bowser? Maybe try to mix it up, especially going up against Outer Rim. They know their opponent. Maybe they've been practicing something new. Maybe a Rob.
We actually have seen some Bowser players pick up Rob in the past, and I would love to see it. However, Bowser is not like a bad heavy. Bowser is still high tier, with an incredibly low skill floor and a pretty high skill ceiling too. Still struggles at the highest level, but as good as these players are, this is not the highest level. You can make Bowser work. We saw someone making Ganon work earlier today. You can make it work. Owzer just needs to be aware of the constant barrage that is going to be hurled towards them, the military arsenal that is being locked and loaded as this button check concludes.
And you can already hear the noise, you can hear the locks as they get set and not breaking the expectations. We're going to be seeing that Robin versus the Bowser. I mean, Outer Rim has always just been shining when it comes down to this. Well, Robin is just looking to use those shocks, kind of force back Owzer, but the Fire's doing a good job of stopping at least the good amount of charge. Still, though, they are eventually going to get caught out.
But think of that tough guy that I mentioned. Ooh, nice up he had a shield, but it does not work in the air. You get the up B, though, I get my command grab.
A pretty fair assessment. It seems that the Arc Fire does so much damage, catches. Whoa! That was really nice. Now Owzer is very much on the back foot.
And just pinning them in the air with that arc fire. And they take a second to let their resources recharge, and it's almost time to go back into the offensive. Are you ready? Are you ready, user?
Don't know if I am. They get the grab, they get a little bit of healing, and then immediately they start going after Owzer. Even if the flamethrower's there, they seem to just be able to perfectly play around it. Getting that time for the charge. Flamethrower's not going to be going through. They force their opponent off. But Outer Rim is so good at optimizing their usage of every resource possible.
And speaking of optimized usage, the arc fire going right on the corner of the stage, interrupting Owzer's recovery, beautiful. It makes it so much more difficult, as you can see. Owzer needs to go back on stage when they're knocked off.
We see the arc fire just being that big pressure point, and eventually it leads Bowser back into the castle to go get the Peach. However, it seems that Owzer is kind of being caught off guard at times.
Yeah, I think caught off guard is one way to put it. They're being demolished. And look at this. Oh, I was about to say, oh, look at Outer Rim threading the needle, and they get caught that time. But almost every single time, they've been able to get through that flame breath right onto stage, and then they get the command grab on top of everything, get them at a kill percent. Not too shabby.
Arcfire just barely misses that side, but it doesn't even matter. We do see it gone, but the sword is grabbed. They're still looking to at least land this Arcfire, try to set it up as much as they can. But Owzer is sticking to this ground, so they're not getting that opportunity. And just, that's gotta be tilting, not being able to finish off the Robin when you felt that prime opportunity.
Yeah, definitely tilting. As now, oh, that's even more tilting. Owzer, the unfortunate pineapple on the bottom of PS2 was going to be their demise. A 3-stock from Outer Rim. Much earned. Even without that SD, you could smell it in the water.
I know I said it was tilting, you know, but like, Owzer, you don't got to show it on camera. I definitely feel Outer Rim had a very good ability just to set up these arc fires, and even though we didn't see the thunder kind of charged up to its full, it got the job done. It was very annoying because you couldn't jump or else you'll get hit by just the tiniest little speck.
Yeah, I mean, you saw they use the thunders as the initial poking tool. It lets them get a grab. The grab puts you in the air. The air lets them read your drift, and once they have your drift on lock, you're caught in a cutscene. And there's no quick time event that's going to get you out of that one.
Yeah, and Outer Rim, I gotta say, what does the Bowser do against that arc fire? We saw initially they tried going out using the flamethrower to just catch them off guard, but once it stopped working, they just tried walking into the opponent and it seemed to fail.
I mean, don't let your jumps get red. When they catch you in the air, that's when it's the most brutal. And we did see that, I mean, most of the arc fires were actually catching them on the ground as well. But there, that rapid jab, that is an instance of tough guy. Unfortunately, it's not the best instance you could have wanted, as that time they go for the gentleman instead, and they recoup all that lost percent with just a handy little command grab, and another one for good measure. Why not?
Outer Rim is just able to land these with utmost confidence, no hesitation or lack of planning. Does land the arc fire, but not really able to get that clean setup. They just have to go for it a little dirty, wait to throw their opponent off the stage. But this Bowser is not playing the way they want to. The last second of that arc fire manages to catch them off guard. The flamethrower is what I like to see, but now you're on the edge.
Yeah, charging up that projectile. Now, where do you go from here? How do you get around this flame breath? It's getting harder and harder for Outer Rim to find the way in. Finally, cleaving through the lizard, getting that early stock. And even though your jump gets red, you're still able to get back to stage without a care in the world and start your combo anew.
I feel like we're seeing Outer Rim throw out a resource every second, and yet there is still more that is coming back in. That's just good usage, though. They drop the sword, not able to throw it, miscounts. The grab is, well, dodged. Do you see Outer Rim now starting to get a bit more control, especially after landing that thunder?
Yeah, Robin to me is the master of slow projectiles, which is not a bad thing. Slow projectiles force you to respect them, and when you respect them, you put up that shield, you get grabbed. When you get grabbed, you get killed.
Well, I mean, they didn't really grabbed or anything, so I don't know where that goes on your meter of color casting. Though, look at that. Still having that thunder, stopping their opponent from even looking to smash them. They picked up their book. I just love how Outer Rim never finds a resource to waste, always getting the utmost out of it. But look at that slam. Is going to land through, but you just went a little bit too down. Outer Rim. Is that a mind game right there? Did Outer Rim just play them?
I mean, I don't think so. Sometimes you just need that one hit. You don't want to get 3-stocked. And that maybe with a little bit more optimal mashing, you could have found a way out of that. But either way, that was more or less over and done with. Yeah, right there. The shield pressure into the grab, into the back air right there. Oh, forward air rather. Oh, it's so brutal.
It really is, though. Bowser tried to spend a little bit more time onto the ground. Don't show it again. We don't need to see the sadness that fills my heart, because that was such a good slam. And then you can see in their mindset, it's okay, get back to the stage, the comeback is there, why am I not going any higher? Nintendo, this character is dumb.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I can't say for sure if the match would have saved them there. I can say for sure that Outer Rim was dominant. Absolutely dominant. And even though that was some nice spacing on the forward air, all the spacing in the world isn't going to save you from these punishes, these slow-moving projectiles that put pressure on your shield or force you to jump. And when you jump right into another projectile because they move so slow, they occupy space for so long. You have to respect them for ages.
Some people just really like Space Jam. Alright, I think that's the conclusion that I'm coming to. Really want to reenact that movie where they get that final basket slam. Unfortunately, Outer Rim knows every key to play against it. So, coming up next, when we go down to both Clayton and Trey, how does that look?
Now, Trey, in the past, has been another Bowser player, but I think Trey has been diversifying quite a bit. Meanwhile, Clayton, I think, is not a new player, but a returning old character. I'm just double-checking my notes to make sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't have Trey down. And this is William and Mary, I think, kind of flexing. Look at this. The score is unwinnable. Even with a double, with a 12 stock right now, they would still not win it. So Now William and Mary can sort of stretch their legs. They're coming off of an upset. Now they can try and flesh out their roster looking forward into the future. Seton Hall, they put up a good fight, especially earlier on, but ultimately they couldn't even get a point on the board. William and Mary, an institution, and they are showing why.
Yeah, and man, they were just more than prepared to kind of clean it up. I mean, it's always what they do when they put in Outer Rim. That's when you know that they're ready to end the series, put this in an unwinnable position for their opponents. And, well, it works. Willem and Mary always going to be in that supreme territory until one of their players gets a wrist cramp and messes up a forward smash, something like that. That's the expectation that I'm going to be coming with. But with all these Bowsers coming in, a question comes to mind is, doesn't that mean you would have an option for every playstyle? You would know, because if you have so many people playing Bowser, then everybody's going up against a different matchup, so the information is spread, right?
Yeah, I mean, in theory, that would work. I do know Trey has switched over to, I think, the Falco. Since the first time I saw them, I mean, my notes definitely a little outdated. Going over to the Falco, I feel like is the right call. Falco been on the come up recently, and Trey has been generally pretty clean in their punishes. Like they are not hitting like the longest strings, but they're all, you know, it's the captain. You've got to be getting in. You've got to be doing better every single time you see them. Against Claytron, I know we've seen Claytron before. It'll be a bit before we get to see exactly what it's going to be like, but we're getting a button check. And before that, we're going on to PS2, very even. And even though we've seen a couple tragedies with pineapples happening here, you're getting bonking your head on the bottom of the stage instead of grabbing the ledge, I feel like PS2 is the pick for Trey to try and get some honor on the board and some points.
I'll agree to that, and I'd really like to see the Captain Falcon. I feel Falcon knee abilities. Falco, my bad. Well, Falco. Why's there gotta be an L in the name, alright? Why do you gotta make me take it? Alright, Kilo. Still, I like the Falco. I think Falco's, Reflector is always gonna be one of my favorite abilities in the game. I just like throwing it out. I like seeing it thrown, and I like seeing it mess with the opponent's recovery more than anything.
Yeah, Falco, definitely a lot of tools to mess with people's recovery. I mean, between that frame one option in the form of the reflector, between, well, just Falco's legendary spike, which is, I mean, kind of nerfed in this game, but with the buffs to it and with Falco players optimizing their spacing been a lot better. Heck, I was playing a Falco player in bracket the other day, and they gimped me by dropping down with a laser and gimping me that way. Like, Falco just has so many options to mess with you off stage. You know why? One of the highest jumps in the game. It might even be the highest, because you can go so deep and recover without ever using your very short Firebird.
Honestly, that I had to take a deep breath right there. Sometimes I just forget, but we do see the Mewtwo coming out. We get the yo. That means Clayton is more than prepared for this matchup. They do spend a bit of time in that air just trying to find each other out, but it does seem this is going to rely more on the ground game.
Yeah, immediately that is the option. Throwing out these nairs around, both of them good combo starters. However, it is initially Trey who gets the first hit. Unfortunately, you get stuffed out immediately with the forward air. That Shadow Claw doing dividends.
Just looking, we do see they're managing to get back. They aren't going to be pressured out, and it even seems that Trey is taking control over that Mewtwo. We'll always be able to get back onto the stage, but the question is, how does Trey look to break it out? Clayton a little bit too far to try and stop them from getting back on, but they're still relatively even. That's the impressive part.
Yeah, just a little forward tilt, stanky legs send you off the stage. Now, dipping very low, but like I said, that incredibly high jump, the double jump, I mean, it's almost liftoff in and of itself.
Launching your opponent high into the sky. Man, it's my favorite thing, but look at that! Just seems they were able to get out their move fast enough, while Trey is not really spending any time onto this ground, is looking for to catch Clayton out in the air, or at least looking for Clayton to throw in a little bit of hops, but in the end, they're not getting too much out of it. They are able to get back on the stage with relative ease, but Clayton is starting to figure out what to do, gets the grab, throwing them off, and it's just looking to be as rude as possible.
Well, the forward tilt, gonna be the finisher there. And now Trey, just immediate answer, that up smash coming out. Not the most commonly seen option, but hey, if your opponent's right on top of you, you might as well kill him.
I agree. If there's a prime opportunity to shut down your opponent, you should always take it. But when looking at this Falco and just looking to see how much damage it's doing, should Trey really start paying more attention to the ground? They're spending a lot of time in the air, and I don't know how well that's working out for them.
I mean, Falco's tilts aren't exactly the best. I feel like playing around these short hop aerials is definitely the call. And even though Mewtwo has some good pokes, if you land that hit, you can usually get a follow-up. You can usually get an edge guard. As now, they're not looking to get any clean edge guards because that teleport is kind of tough to contest. There's no Ness gimping people with that. No. Instead, you're just going to find that runoff back air. Reset situation.
Ooh. There is no dog to walk, but Clayton is ready to throw this bird back in the cage. Though, look at that! Literally throwing Mewtwo back out. Stock per stock. We are now back into the even as if this round has just started. But they're already looking to kind of find each other. The grab going good, forcing your opponent out. Woo! Missed the down smash, but look at that, they're both playing on the edge.
Oh, they both get out. They just reset that situation completely. Teleporting right behind that up-tilting Falco, but, I mean, Trey, they are quick to react to all that nonsense. They get that down tilt. That gets the combo started. You've got them off stage, but Mewtwo going way high to avoid that. But even the neutral air dodge doesn't save you.
These players, they're making me so nervous. I understand fully where they're playing and why, but look at that. Trey doesn't even want to give them a chance to come back on the stage. Just gets that simple kick in the face and launches them so far back.
I mean, this matchup, it's just two glass cannons taking turns shattering each other. That's really what it is. Like, you take a look at this. One back air at center stage at 98, and you die. Like, that doesn't sound that bad, 98, but they were at center in PS2. It's supposed to be completely even, but Mewtwo's so light. I think they also caught a dash back there, but either way, it's just so brutal. And the ledge trapping has been clean. Using these uncharged Shadow Balls to control the ground game, I think that's another reason Trey wasn't sticking on the ground too much. Even though Falco's aerials in general are better, the fact that the uncharged Shadow Ball is a slow projectile you often have to respect is something that was getting in Trey's head a little bit.
But, I mean, against a character that is so light and, you know, quite possibly dies extremely early, could that have been Clayton's own weakness? The character itself just being so light, you get kicked in the face and it just does not work out in your end, especially against a character who has such a good back air.
I mean, yeah, it's the tightrope people walk, and you can't fault anyone for wanting that high-risk, high-reward Daredevil play style. I mean, it's exhilarating playing a glass cannon like that. When you know that every hit could be your last, when you know, like it is a trade-off. Mewtwo combos do a ludicrous amount of damage. You saw that Shadow Claw tearing through Falco's percent over and over again. And even though Mewtwo's back air isn't the strongest, it's still a great edge guarding tool. And the forward air, ooh, that chunks you away as quick as you please.
I mean, I just really like how the Mewtwo works, and honestly, the hitbox, while it may be big, it brings me a good laugh, but wanting to continue on with this idea of range, this is the Sephiroth.
Yeah. This is an interesting option right here for them, but hey, I'm not blaming them for it. I think it's a nice opportunity. I mean, you get the counter to try and edge guard Falco, which you don't even need to go off stage for. And more than that, you just get the spacing game. Now, it's not still another variety of glass cannon, but one with a lot more defense.
And I mean, the comeback potential is by far my favorite part because you have to still respect the Sephiroth no matter the percentage. As Clayton just looking to get that Falco off the air, manages to get a good slam in. The Ghost Ball, my favorite, forces out that shield for a little longer, and yet Trey doesn't seem to be sweating at all or really slowing down. Is still playing in the air, still playing fast, and looking to catch the Sephiroth off guard.
Yeah, Claytron spacing these back airs, using this triple jump to mix up their movement, make it nigh impossible. But, well, Trey, very aware of their limitations, has the confidence just to wait out that down air on the ledge. And from the other side of the stage, that kills ludicrous.
It is always why when I talk about Sephiroth, I say he hits you from 6 years away. That's just how it feels, and that's just the strong suit of how this character works now. The Falco is going to be looking just to get any form of good smash, though unfortunately dropping the shield a little bit late. I do like that Trey is spending this time in the air as Clayton gets caught off guard, wasn't prepared, doesn't get the shield out, and loses that stock.
Yeah, literally just hit Sephiroth in the toe and sent him flying right there. As that down air at a disadvantage, surprisingly not going to be punished. And I don't mind either Trey using this laser as a poking tool, as Sephiroth doesn't really have the burst options from across the stage to run out and punish you for... No. Sephiroth often just has to take that laser.
And I mean, it's not really going to be the worst thing possible. The faster you get to your winged form, is that really going to be a downside?
I mean, yeah, because once you're in that winged form, you are almost certainly going to die sooner or later. I mean, we've seen stocks taken so early by that forward smash, tremendously powerful, and even though it's not the biggest hitbox, it has been buffed, it has a little bit of disjoint to it now. We saw it catch them earlier, and oh, they dip below where they meant to be. They meant to just try and two-frame, but instead, that's an unfortunate SD you don't want to be seeing, as Trey might just get even more points on the board for Seton Hall.
But he still gets knocked so far away. And, you know, I really do feel that is such a high jump. We saw they were already halfway getting back onto the stage when most characters would need a better recovery to kind of equalize that. But now Trey is just looking for this mid-game, just looking to see any type of opener. But spending a lot of time just kind of standing there holding that shield while Clayton's getting this damage.
Now dipping very low, barely snapping to ledge. Shout out to Magnets right there. As, they whipped that grab, that could have been huge. But Claytron, they've managed to get a massive turnaround there. The stall with the side B helps them avoid being skewered, but is it enough? Is it enough to turn this around? You need to find your combo starter. This is your opportunity. Just a rapid jab though, that's all you're going for?
I mean, I respect it. If you're gonna get any damage in, just let it be something. Though, you do end up dashing a little bit too far in. The beautiful snaps, I mean, I feel like Sephiroth could make a music band if it wasn't such a terrifying villain. And with such incredible range. Trey, though, now starting to find the pace that they want to work at. Still falls off the edge, but that was scary.
Trying to land with that nair, the forward tilt slicing through Falco. An opportunity, nice mix-up right there with that wall jump. You can see Claytron wasn't expecting it. Slipped up their timing. Another chance for Trey, but it gets sliced through again. How can you get back here?
Seems just with the side B, you're able to get back. We're not going to be seeing that two-frame there. Clayton is still just hoping that their opponent walks into it. You gotta respect Trey a little more than that. I mean, Trey's showing some impressive mix-ups. However, your weapon doesn't care about it. Just goes through the stage, takes out the Falco. And what a well-deserving end screen.
Yeah, you gotta be careful, but I say be careful as if Trey had not managed to avoid this almost every single time. That was literally the only resource that they had available to them, and eventually there's not a ton you can do. You can only extend your lease on life for so long before you start getting people calling about your extended warranty. I mean, Claytron, they're able to finish that off, and they get a chance to win this set against Trey instead of just letting it slip.
Ooh. Both of these players. I mean, we saw the Falco already have a nice move. Now we've seen Claytron have a really good move. both of these players are starting to shine and get a good sense of how they want to go against. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Sephiroth once more. But, I mean, when Trey is trying to close the distance, this technically feels like a pretty obvious matchup with a character who's really good at aerial combat, but one is like really good at long range. Shouldn't the Falco have the advantage technically?
I don't think so. Falco without the lack of disjoints. Disjoints are often one of the most important things in Smash Ultimate, and that is, I mean, the name of the game. If you whiff at all, you're going to get punished from, as you put it, 6 years away. And even playing from the top of the blast zone, even double jumping all the way up there with Falco's double jump, which he can do, you still aren't able to mix it up. Sephiroth has so many anti-air tools in the form of up smash, up air, up tilt, and you have to do so much to avoid them. You saw that one time, they almost caught him with the up tilt, but Trey at the last minute saved themselves with a miracle side B. But that's a lot of work just to avoid one move. So you don't want to be in the air above Sephiroth. But you still somehow want to land on them with aerials? Try and add that up in your head.
I'm a very simple person. That's, you know, your name's a metric, so obviously you're ready to go through everything and figure it out. And that would make my head turn just trying to go up against. And honestly, I give more props to the players of just kind of being able to go up against it. So, when it comes down to this match, Falco won first, then the Sephiroth won second. What should we be looking at in the third? Because a lot of this match was spent kind of in the air and off the stage rather than more lowly on the ground. Besides from Sephiroth managing to just hit the Falco who rolls on top, how should this matchup kind of next up go? Should we be paying attention to seeing who gets off the edge more or who's kind of catching the other off guard?
I'm feeling like who's catching the other off guard. I come from the school of thought where it is better to kill your opponent faster than they can kill you than to just drag things out and survive. And obviously survival BI, SDI, escaping combos, all great things, but if you're just not letting your opponent combo you in the first place because you're comboing them, I feel like that is always the better trade-off. So definitely looking for Trey to optimize their combos a little more. Like there were a couple times where I have seen Trey pull out some miracle things, but they don't go for the up tilt at low percent, stuff like that. I would love to see Trey a little more confident in their own punish game.
I agree, especially when going up against a Sephiroth. Killing them as fast as possible feels like the main point going up against that character, though. They're able to get back on the stage. Not going to be mirroring what happened before. Trey is more than prepared, but still ends up being caught by this long fork of a weapon.
Down air, good opening into the Nair shield pressure, keeps the string going, able to catch that soft up B under that platform. Trey, monumental stuff right now. Ooh, spacing around this forward air is very nice, but Trey eventually will get grabbed. That's what you get for landing in front of Sephiroth.
Still though, Sephiroth is at least playing their spacing, beautiful snaps coming through, love the judge, but look at that, the winged form now in, almost kicked out of the stage. However, it seems like Clayton really just doesn't want to be in that form, kind of just walked into that.
Yeah, I don't blame him whatsoever, as now Trey... You can see Claytron, they want this forward tilt and they want it badly. And they whiffed like 5 forward tilts. Trey understands. Finally, the 6th one connects. And that is why it puts them off stage. It puts them back in that disadvantage. You talked about getting off ledge and how important it is. And this is why. Claytron only wants to put Trey on the edge because they are confident in their ledge trapping abilities.
It's kind of what you have to do. And with anything that works, it'll work. Grab missing out though. Most frustrating thing because that ability can be so good when knocking your opponent down. Just missing it by a few pixels is not the best feeling, but we do see the snap enabling 3 hits, knocking that Falco off the stage. Do they manage to get? They do.
So much startup in that, so much time to prepare for Claytron, and even riding the stage up at a diagonal is not enough. Coming straight up will be your downfall. Now Trey, still with the lead, still with them off stage, but you've got to find a way to contest. Yeah, just roll away. You don't even want to deal with that shield damage.
Shield damage could be a problem, but I mean, Trey really doesn't care too much, though. Do you see the blaster getting jumped out a little? Claytron no longer has control of this game. Is PS2 a really good map for Falco, or is Claytron starting to get a bit predictable?
Nah, it's just Trey playing amazing. Baiting out these counters and then actually punishing them. This is what you need to be seeing from them. I mean, they're so elusive. You talked about how you wanted to see them in the air more. They're using this full hop, this double jump, going way up and then getting landing mix-ups, avoiding the anti-airs just by lingering in the air for so long.
Players always fulfilling my greatest wishes, and Noel, Trey is now going to be kind of put onto that edge. Still moving forward, gets grabbed, put a little bit far back, but that's a nice parry. If only you managed to kind of follow up on it instead of getting hit, that would have looked a little bit cooler. Now, though, Trey back into the middle of the stage. How essential is it for them to be playing in the middle rather than on the edge?
Right now for Trey, a hit on the edge is a kill. A hit on the middle, well, that's an opportunity to survive. That's one more chance to maybe get some more damage. So you're going to be trying to get back there as soon as possible. The issue is Claytron knows that. They're covering it with back airs, but it's not enough to stop that down tilt from connecting.
More than ready. Looking for these aerials, like what they're going with, looking to just play around. Grab misses. These players are now countering each other out, looking to both try and take perfection, but Claytron goes a little too late, isn't able to get it. The opponent might be able to finish them off with the recovery. It not only gets the kill, but Claytron gets back on the stage.
Yeah, now Claytron looking for the opener right here with the one wing. It's so hard to track them down. The extra speed makes them so elusive, even faster than Falco, that's for sure, as they get that nair started, but they can't confirm it into a back air or anything like that quite yet. Nair, you can't quite find it.
They're continuing just to kind of more juggle around each other. Don't know if that's the correct term to say it, but it's how it looks like as they both bounce back and forth. We do see Claytron looking to get some hits into the air, at least stopping this Falco from playing where they want to. But even then, Trey is more than prepared, except that growl!
That confirm right there, and oh no! Trey looks like with a little bit of a misinput, but it doesn't matter anyway. Claytron earned that win. They're going on to continue William and Mary's undefeated streak. I mean, sure, you dropped a point to Trey, but ultimately you're able to come in clutch and keep the point total rising for William and Mary.
I don't think that was a misinput. I think that was just, unfortunately, no input from Trey. Or at least from what I could see. We're gonna, obviously, we have the replay for that, so that's the bright side. But I agree. Claytron did really well when it came to this matchup, and, well, look at that beautiful kick to the back, forcing them off. This was down to the wire, both of these players having a good sense of what each one was kind of working off, and I think this recovery was unfortunately Trey's biggest downfall.
Yeah, I mean, there was stuff you could do there. You could, I mean, do a diagonal recovery instead of straight up, but your momentum was already caught out, and oh, they might just not have had a jump. I think that's what it was. Yeah, let's double check here as we see.
Yeah.
No, you just grab them straight into the back air. Oh, look at that ring right there. That is so unfortunate. Oh no. Oh no. The ring.
Don't
and that's no Halo. And that's no Angel. That is just death. Oh, and you can see they're like, where'd the jump? Where'd the jump? And without that jump, I'm not even sure. They would have had to have an instant side B to even hope of making it back. Instant recognition of your own mistake. But unfortunately, Trey does not have that. I mean, Seton Hall was down and out anyways, but still, Trey looked like they might have been able to get more on the board than that.
I'm sad, Kilo Miles. I'm sad that was the way it had to go. Didn't even notice it. And yet the player was more than ready to go out like a champion. Full respects to it. Now, evening it out, we're going to be looking at, is it Jimbo? gumbo. I like to say it many different ways so the players end up talking to me afterwards, but I will say it right solely to ease their hearts because we're going to be seeing Jimbo.
Yeah, Jimbo 2000 coming out here, which is going to be exciting, taking on Frog. This is another player who we don't often see. I mean, Jimbo is a mainstay. They've been here since day one with Seton Hall, and they've definitely improved along with the rest of them. I've seen them on the Sora. I've seen them on the Bowser. I'm curious where they will end up residing in the end. I think both of them are good choices for a more like flowchart play style, playing around a couple key set tools and looking for the best ways to optimize them.
Though optimizing, how essential is it, especially with those types of characters, is it to optimize? Because I sometimes at least that term goes into my head and I never know if, like, is it really that necessary or is that just a bonus to the character?
Nah, you've got to optimize them in the end, especially if they are the only... If it's the only mix-up you've got are those few key options, which a lot of Sora players do tend to go with. But in general, optimization, I feel like the second you stop focusing on neutral and start focusing on, what's it called? When you start focusing on your punish game, that's when you really start improving. Because you can win neutral as many times as you want, but if your neutral win only nets you 15% from one stray hit, and then it resets, you're not getting anything. You have to win neutral so many times. You have to be the most godlike player on the planet to make that work. Or, you can optimize your punish game, optimize your advantage state. And even though you're not getting true combos, you're still keeping them in a bad situation, so your one hit in neutral leads to 30% instead of 15, or 60, or just death. That's what you want to be seeing. That's why optimization is so important for all of them.
Honestly, I didn't even see it like that for my idea. I think optimization is always just, woohoo, it just, you look cooler, you look a little flashier, and it gives the casters a bit more of a term to say on the stream. But it's so essential in those characters that we did kind of talk about. They are going to be looking really good on it. So as we do get this button check, we're going over to PS2, one of these founding stages, one of the great saluters. And when it comes down to optimizing, does this map enable it more than disable it, or?
I mean, a lot of people practice on PS2 because, let's be honest, if you're going to a tournament, you're probably going to be playing on PS2 the majority of the time. Like, for example, let's see. Yeah, no. They asked for bans or PS2, and asked for PS2, and then they went, we'd like to go ahead with the ban process, even if we end up at PS2. And then, after the process, PS2. So, like I said, it is not a bad place to practice when you're optimizing, when you're in training mode, grinding it out. Like, I practice on PS2. I practice all my strings, all my combos, all my confirms on PS2, because that is 99% of the time where I end up playing, whether I like it or not.
Yeah, but with we play very similar stages. The only difference is a platform. Well, how does that make any difference or makes PS2 such a favorite map?
Well, the lack of a tri-plat, which is that third platform in the middle, nullifies a lot of really long strings. It nullifies the combo games, but the platforms do provide defensive options. When you're underneath them, it prevents you from, when you're underneath the platforms, it prevents attacks from directly above. You need to come from diagonal or directly from the side or just grounded. Projectiles can also be a factor there. And, well, the platforms also protect you from projectiles. They also give you the opportunity to tech. And it is, in fact, going to be the Sora that is Jimbo 2000's pick, going up against Frog's Inkling.
As Splatoon 3 is coming out, maybe this is how you practice for it. But I really do like Inkling's own mechanics going up against the Sora. But they're not really getting any of these prime opportunities, especially with how this works. Does the Sora have the full advantage, especially because Frog is has to pay attention to those resources?
Well, I feel like one of Inkling's main strengths in the modern metagame, and I say modern metagame, in the metagame since the very start, is her immaculate edge guarding. Sora, with as many mix-ups as he has off stage, definitely takes away that strength. And while I would say that's an advantage, taking away your opponent's strength is definitely not a disadvantage.
I mean, but the main problem that at least I'm looking at, as we see Frog freely able to get back on, not getting any opportunity to hit, and every time they land ink on their opponent, they can do a little bit more damage, if I remember that correctly, but we do see the fire managing to push them out. The thunder is set. The moment they get thrown off this stage, that could be the end for this life.
Nice little jab lock from Jimbo right there. Followed up into the combo, 3-hit combo. You know it, you love it. You're going to see it 1,000 times in this matchup. As now, just poking with this up tilt, trying to shark him. And with that extra damage you rack on, be able to land an edge guard right here could be nice. With a Sonic Blade putting you up there. Ooh! Frog was not ready for that. They were thinking Jimbo was just going to ride the train all the way to the station, but no, instead they turned around halfway through.
Look at that, just looking to pump in that damage. This is almost 200%. That is one stubborn squid if I've ever seen one. But we do see the side special. Look, they do that damage. The poor Thunder never going to land. But it seems not to matter, because eventually Frog is just going to be knocked out. But the Inkling matchup is still something that I am still jarred to see. Spending this time onto the ground, looking for that guard. Man, the sword just goes so high.
Yeah, Inkling has an amazing ground game, like you said. With the dash dance, you're able to have so many mix-ups, so many baits, and additionally, you're able to have these really nice poking aerials. Back air for the disjoint, forward air for the linger, and for the kill power, and up smash to scoop you up and finish you off.
Now, the grenade is really sat there, gives a bit of time just to kind of store up your own ink. But it's really just going to be the jabs that get in that clean damage. Though, Jimbo is now getting hit stuck in the air. For a character who is so floating, they spend most of their moves in the air. It seems Jimbo really doesn't thrive up there. Or are they? And Frog is just kind of finding them a little off guard.
I mean, it is Frog. No matter how long you float, you have to land eventually. And that is where Frog is finding a lot of their mileage.
That makes a lot of sense. So, as much as the Sora wants to be in the air, or at least it's just kind of stuck up there, the moment they even try to go down, Frog just says no, goes in, manages to kick him to the side, and, well, that's a paint bucket if I've ever seen one. Now, the Sora's the one on the back foot.
And with that, you get this juggle situation. Ooh, waiting for the air dodge too. Intelligence by Frog right there, but it's not enough to save you from that 3-hit combo once again. But Sora not able to put out a burst option in time. You're off stage, covered in full ink.
Of course, really don't want to be get hit with that much ink right now. You look like a tomato, and in the end, you're gonna be smashed like one, sent to the oblivion. Frog able to get the 2 stocks, and I gotta say, I have not seen Inkling played extremely often, but it's a pleasure to see it come out like this.
Ooh. Nice little wave landing right there to end the cancel. That's an optimal bit of movement right there as you get the confirm. But even without that, Frog did a lot right here. Playing up against a character that you have a lot of trouble edge guarding, what they did is they cut off Sora's options by throwing out that splatter bomb, like you see here. Now you don't want to go right to ledge, so that means they have to delay. That means you have to throw out a hitbox when you try and land, and that is what they punish. They don't try and punish the recovery, they punish the option right after the recovery, like the landing Blizzaga right there, and scoop and dead. Bye-bye.
Like, wait, our producer is showing us something.
Ooh.
As
now,
we see,
this is very interesting. You see, Inkling's initial dash goes into the ground. Look at that. How low can you go? Can you go down low? All the way to the floor?
Inkling apparently
In
can.
the floor? emerging out with the up smash. Ooh, kablam! That's what I'm seeing.
Would not want to play Limbo with Inkling now. That's at least what I'm learning from this match. And, well, wait, does going down like that change the hitbox? Because
yeah, it does.
But, like, to what margin?
You're gone. You're gone, my friend. I mean, you're a puddle on the ground, and you can step in a puddle, sure, you can stomp on it, but how many people are aiming their attacks at your opponent's shadow?
Man.
Yeah. Like, I remember early on in Inkling's metagame, a lot of people talked about how this would be the most defining characteristic of this character. How this character would be able to approach anyone at any time by using the initial dash to get under their projectiles in well time. And then no Inkling actually did it. When Armada Lindgren himself, one of the greatest players of all time in Smash Brothers, could not figure out a way to optimize Inkling's movement enough to get that microspacing, I don't know if it's completely optimal, but for small little interactions like that, it totally is.
Hey, but it does seem they don't really want to try and let that continue, having that PK fire. Well, at least you're looking to counter out something more liquefying. But how does this matchup look? Lucas versus a character like Inkling.
Now, Lucas, I mean, plays a lot around these projectiles, and I think the projectile is low enough to the ground. The aerials often have a landing hitbox, so you're going to be fine in general with connecting the hits, and I feel like you're not going to get a lot of combos started as Lucas, which is unfortunate, but you're getting a lot of strings, reading these air dodges and punishing accordingly.
Doesn't seem that grenade is going to be caught, but I mean, it allows you to slow down a little. Now you launch those PK fires. That grenade's not even going to get onto the stage. One character has to worry about the resources, one doesn't. And yet Frog says, I don't care, looks to throw that grenade, looks to try to get that up smash, but it seems that Lucas is the one getting the back throw. Securing that stock, though, at such a high percentage themselves, I don't know how long that's going to last.
Yeah, as now Jimbo trying to get off this ledge with the Zair. Could have been a great starter, but you get caught by the roller. Just that tiny little splash of paint is going to mean you're doomed.
You know, I said it, you never want to assume that a character is going to live because sometimes it just doesn't work out. You know, the relationship issues are there, but Frog is still playing around. Jimbo almost manages to get that grab, is going to be hit by the small combos, little 1-2, 1-2, and I like how much the PK fires are being thrown out. Just the fact that they are doing small little cancels, I feel, do wonders. However, getting caught by that grenade also does wonders.
They forced an air dodge with the grenade and somehow still hit it, but overuse of that grenade is going to result in that. You being slapped in the face by that forward smash, and that reflects, finishing off with that little bit of a gimp from that PK Thunder, which is a lingering hitbox for Lucas.
And now they just look to keep up that damage, though the PK Fire misses out, so they end up getting hit. Eventually, they are going to be able to land a move and continue pushing forward. This was a good up smash, especially when their shield was so incredibly low. Frog, you poor soul, you're getting hit off the stage, and could have been a problem right there.
Yeah, a lot of people not used to being edge-guarded on a character like Inkling, but the fact that he is a controllable projectile off stage like that, Jimbo 2000 able to bring themselves back into this, tying things up 1-1.
If there's anything that I like, it's just the full determination to make sure that they win. I mean, sure, they have 1 point right now, but now that's going to be adding up. And William and Mary, you know, I feel when they go into these games, they want to try and go as perfect as possible. So Jimbo's got to be feeling really proud to stop any hopes of that.
Yeah, proud indeed, that 1 point on the board. Now it's not just a fluke. Now you're actually able to say, yeah, we got 3 on William and Mary. It's not the best, but hey, it's better than some teams do. As again, it was that up B that I think really was the finisher. You can see after they grabbed ledge with the up B, they didn't do anything. They were just scared to move at all, which I don't blame them for. Like, you get caught by a weird situation like that, you want to take a breather, but then Lucas hits you with the what are those? That down smash, that was actually the forward tilt right there. that not usually the ledge coverage option, but man, does it kill.
And kill it does, sending Frog so far away, and now evening this series when it comes down to the matchup. And I will agree, I don't think a lot of people are kind of, from what you said before, are used to this idea of going up against the Inkling when they're edge guarding, but Lucas has such at least a good jump, and then the recovery was never really necessarily needed. The whole PK Thunder into yourself, launching into your opponent. Is the Inkling, is that kind of nullifying it?
It's possible, yeah. It really does feel like a lot of people at this point are a little bit too scared to go off stage against Lucas, which I don't think is a bad thing. Lucas has the tether recovery, so they can snap right to ledge and mix you up. That's the mix-up that they went for a lot of the time. That's why you didn't see the PK Thunder recovery, because Lucas doesn't need it most of the time, and Inkling doesn't really have an opportunity to interrupt that tether a lot of the time, unless you have a hard read on it, which under the pressure that Frog was under, I didn't really see that often.
Well, maybe this will be the change that you're looking for, Kilo, because, well, Kilo, whatever way you want to say it, it's such a weird name. This is now going to be the match to see how it works. Look at it go underneath. Look at that, the Lucas already starting up to get that damage in. You can go as low as you want, but I mean, Lucas is a pretty small kid.
Yeah, as now... Ooh, nice job spacing that forward air, just drifting back with these aerials, making sure you have the proper spacing, because Lucas, if you're not hitting the sweet spot, you're not doing anything. But the fact that you're able to hit it means that the damage is already being racked up, and the forward tilt setting up an uncomfortable situation again, forcing them to go high by buffering it up the after that PK Thunder, going for the 2-frame now. They don't even need it. The character has already gone. Frog's out of there.
Inkling being thrown out, and when the Lucas is at 47%, now just looking to break dance a little. You gotta live up to the hype. We do see... Oh!
Unfortunate.
I think that lives up to the hype as we see Lucas unfortunately falling down. So now it's back to this even fight. It's back to the neutral, and they're spending a lot of time just trying to get that damage, but it seems it's always the jabs that work out, right?
Yeah, it's mostly the forward tilt that has been Jimbo's opening. It's a fast poke tool that's amazing on shield, and it also hits ledge apparently. That's a new one to me, but hey, Jimbo's showing us all new things.
This poor Lucas is dressed up in Halloween, covered up in pumpkins, and now a good smash, a good hit will take them out. However, look at that, Inkling's own ink is slowly going down, meaning that, well, the prime opportunity to get full effect out of it is lost. Though Frog really isn't going to be carrying too much until they get knocked off the side. What's the phrase called again?
That's 2-frame with that forward tilt again.
Oh.
And you're going to be able to get back to stage, going high to avoid that grenade. And now, you're just able to poke with that Zair. That double jump cancel Zair is basically a grounded option with how fast you're actionable after you do it.
Jimbo coming very close to 200%. But isn't really looking to slow down that pace, even just looking to try and force their opponent into oblivion. Managed to survive from that parry. The poor Frog. The PK Thunder is being absolutely rude, but these stomps at least, same with the back throw. They're looking to kill. It's the grenade that finishes it out though.
Yeah, you weren't ready for that little burst of hitbox from Frog. Now, Jimbo 2000 is able to slip right on past them. Forward smash at ledge will shockingly not kill them quite yet. They go for the 2-frame, but that's not going to connect this time. Rapid jab to ink them up. One combo right now could be the game changer.
You're not wrong, but Jimbo doesn't need a combo. Jimbo doesn't need to worry about anyone hitting them. They have PK Fire and PK Thunder. I mean, yes, you get back to the stage, and I mean, you're looking pretty good. You're throwing that grenade onto the side, forcing them to play in the middle. But I mean, what are you going to do against Frog, all right? I mean, Jimbo's got the PK Fire, got the PK Thunder. You can't even get back on the stage, quite possibly.
They're interrupting anything that Frog wants to do. And then as soon as they manage to get in a position to recover, it's forward tilt, forward tilt, forward tilt. Buenos dias, Inkling. That's what they're saying. As they're finally able to land with the Zair once again. It's a great disjointed landing tool that, again, is so unpunishable. And finally, the PK Fire is just going to be the finisher. Jimbo choked him out and eventually just managed to land that final projectile. One win to cap off Seton Hall's night. And you know they got to feel good about that one. It's William and Mary after all.
What did I say? Who needs combos? Who needs setup? When you have a simple PK Fire that sends the Splatoon so far off the stage, it gives them a little bit of scoliosis if you saw the model. What I gotta say, Jimbo stopping them from even getting back on the stage for a little while is the part that at least I find makes it very favorable to watch the Lucas play. You always wonder to yourself, is Frog going to accidentally make a mistake? Is Jimbo going to stop them from even able to recover onto the map? Though Frog was still persistent.
Yeah, there were a lot of things Frog did. We saw just the tail end of it right at the beginning there. How Jimbo, with that... All right, hold on. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, that's a nice bit of extension. They did not expect that, but Jimbo was literally carrying Frog into the blast zone with their up B. Not something you see from Lucas's every day, and it's truly impressive to see. As, yeah, that was a nice finisher right there. William and Mary taking it home 23-3, a clean 20 points on the board. And we can ask them a little bit more about how they feel with their return to dominance this week, as we're going to get a little bit of an interview with them in just a couple of minutes. So don't go anywhere. EGFC will be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to EGFC. We're here with an interview from BFD from William and Mary. How you doing after that win, BFD?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I mean, it was a nice, clean win, and it was nice to see not only you perform on the Steve as usual, but a lot of your other lesser-used roster members as well. How did they feel about a chance to sort of flex their legs there?
We think everybody is worth their medal in the league, and if we think that they fit well in a certain spot, we're gonna put them in.
Definitely a fair case, and so at least in my mind, William and Mary always manage to shine bright. But kind of want to get more into you. What is your mindset, at least, if you feel like you're on the back foot, or if you feel your opponent is a little bit better than you? Have you ever gone like into a match where you're like, I could lose this?
I feel like everybody has. But you can't really worry about that too much, right? Like, if you worry about that kind of, you're speaking it into existence, I guess. So, no, I mean, everybody feels that, and it's something that you worry about, but, I think with time it gets easier to handle.
Yeah, and I know we've definitely asked about this before, but when you're sort of like preparing, especially for teams that are maybe not quite in the upper echelon, not your Mississippis, not your DePauls, when you're like doing that preparation, do you ever do like individual VOD review for that team, or are you just working on your fundamentals?
We do it for everybody, regardless of who they are. And, I think regardless of what someone's record is, that tells the story of their season and not necessarily their players. Everybody's got something. They're on a team for a reason, and it would be rude to count them out just because that their record hasn't been up there, you know what I mean? It's just the story of their season.
Yeah, well, it is good to hear that respect, and I'm glad to hear that. That's not what we hear from every team, so I'm glad you're treating all these teams with the, the threat range that they have well earned. But either way, I wish you the best of luck on the best of your season. I hope you all, you're able to recover nicely from everything that's been going on, and I hope we'll be seeing you in the playoffs soon.
Thank you.
And with that, we're just going to wrap things up. We're going to go to a little break. When we return in just a couple of minutes, we're going to have some more action for you, so don't go anywhere. EGFC will be back in just a couple of minutes.